From the center of the universe, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, this is the SDM Show with your host, Rob Cairns. The SDM Show focuses on business, life, productivity, digital marketing, WordPress, and more. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite drink, and enjoy the show. Here is Rob.
Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here. I'm the founder, CEO, and chief technologist at Study Digital Marketing. In today's show, I have Blake Whittle with me, and we're going to talk about his plugin, Infinite Uploads for WordPress. Sit back, relax, enjoy the show. This episode is brought to you by All-in-One WP Migration, the most trusted WordPress migration plugin with over 60 million sites served. Whether you are switching hosts, changing domains, or moving to a new server, All-in-One WP Migration makes it one click. Try it for free at WordPress.org or visit servemass.com for pro features. Hey everybody, Rob Cairns here, and today I have my rejoining guest, Mr. Blake Whittle of Infinite Uploads. Hey Blake, how you doing?
Hey Rob, I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, and having you back. So those who don't know, Blake and I recorded, I guess, a couple weeks ago. And for the
hmm
first time in a long time, we had audio problems. And they weren't Blake's audio problems. They were actually mine, which is so rare and far between. So, I was thinking the other day after 675 episodes, I think I've only gone through two or three where I've had to record. So thank you for your patience. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I'm one of the lucky ones that gets to talk with you twice.
That's okay. You get to spend time with me twice. So before we jump into talking about plugins and stuff you've done, um, how did you get into developing plugins or purchasing plugins, and why did all that come about?
Yeah, so I've owned my agency since 2017
Yeah.
and founded it when I was a sophomore or sorry, a freshman in college. And at the time, I did things part-time. Then after I graduated from college, I went full-time with my company, with my agency. And as we progressed through the years, A- A- AI came out, and I was just seeing some uncertainty in the
Yeah.
market. And I wanted to diversify and invest in something that's more scalable because as we both know, an agency is scalable, but it's also very labor intensive. It's more difficult to scale. You have to scale
Yeah.
with people, stuff like that. So I wanted something that could scale a lot quicker and kind of diversify our revenue streams. So
Yeah.
that's how I got into plugins is because of that.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, those in the agency space think, oh, all I gotta do is work 10 more hours a week. Well, I'm gonna tell you something, folks, it doesn't work. So you can try, but you're not gonna get the revenue increase bang for the buck that you think working 10 more hours a week. You might get a little better, but the reality of it all is it's not happening. Honest to God, it's just not gonna happen. So
Right.
I think you got to diversify and you got to play that game a little bit. I think that's the important thing. So that's what I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah. And
And
and and plugins weren't too far out of the realm. So with an agency, you can of course diversify into offering SEO or other services, but it's still within that agency bubble. So the plugins was the perfect fit to still stay within the WordPress space, but still something outside of the agency completely.
it's funny because you're not the only one that's done that. I know my good friend over at WX Forums, Mark Westgard, started off doing an agency. If you know Mark,
hmm
before he got into forms, and Mark's been on this show countless times. I know Marcus Burnett has gotten into that space with a plug-in bundle. If you've been following Marcus,
hmm
Marcus is a good friend too, and I'm hoping to get him on the show to talk about that very soon. We were supposed to record, and he decided he needed to disappear to Italy for a week, so that ended that. But
Yep.
but we're all looking for different revenues, and AI is making the agency space really hard because I think what's going on is people think, oh, I can do it with AI. And we're back to when page builders first came out. Oh, I can do my own site with a page builder. And just because you can do the site doesn't mean it converts to leads, which generates sales. And that's something the average person doesn't get.
Right. Yep. And unfortunately, our agency has only grown since AI has come out. So we're not seeing a revenue decrease or stuff like that. We're from last year to this year, our
Yep.
agency revenue is up by 54%. And so we're not seeing a decrease, but it's just having that security and stability. I had a teacher once tell me that that you should treat your revenue like like a chair. A chair cannot stand on one leg. A chair cannot stand on two legs, but three or more legs, a chair can stand.
One,
And
one hundred
you,
percent.
yep, yep. And so that's
Yeah,
why I
I,
always like to have three different sources of revenue to be able to feel comfortable.
it's funny you say your revenue's gone up. I think mine has gone up by 40% this year. And one of the reasons you and I were talking before we came to record is because one of the things we do is security. And AI is making the security game really hard if you're not in the know. And I mean, you almost have to live and breathe the security side to be able to stay on top of it. And there's a multitude of factors: your hosting, your firewalls, backups, updates, and it's all a package. But if you're not on top of stuff, it's hard. It was funny when WordPress 7.0.2 dropped, which was the big security fix. Where was I? I was walking out of my brother's visitation. That was his Memorial weekend, and I'm looking at my phone saying, "Oh, this is the worst possible time."
Yep.
Now I was headed home, so it didn't matter. But you know what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Um, so let's dive into plugins. Your biggest plugin is Infinite Uploads. Um, how did you acquire that, and what does it do that separates it from all the other plugins out there?
Yeah, so I came to acquire Infinite Uploads through an X post, actually. The seller, Aaron Edwards, had posted out on X saying that he was interested in selling Infinite Uploads. He wrote up a very transparent and detailed listing for it on his blog, and it was a long process because he wasn't sure that he wanted to sell, and I wasn't sure that I wanted to buy. So we kind of
Yeah.
just talked back and forth for a few months. I think he posted it in March, and we did not close the sale until November. So it was
Well, but
nine
nine
months, and
months.
what made everything come together though was we met up in person at WordCamp US out in Portland, where we just sat down. He walked me through everything, uh, verified the numbers and stuff like that, and then I made an offer, and we did the whole letter of intent process and due diligence and stuff like that, and then we closed on it in late November
Yeah.
of
And
2024.
what a lot of people would say is 9 months is a long time. And I would say what you and Aaron did, and Aaron's a well-known member of this community, so it doesn't surprise me. And knowing you as well as I've gotten to know you, it doesn't surprise me either. What you did, and this is a lesson for any other business owner, is you built trust. You really did. And it
Precisely.
sounds like both of you were very transparent, and Aaron sitting down with you and showing you numbers and things like that. And then you've got that honesty relationship. And
Hmm.
we've all seen it even in the agency world. You ever get that project or that security job or something else, and somebody's been talking to you for over a year? It happens to me all the time. So If you
Yep.
think things like your newsletters that go to clients and potential clients, the communication, you think that doesn't build trust? It builds trust like you wouldn't believe. And
Yep.
that's why we need to keep things like newsletters, things like, because you got a client on a care plan who never uses your services but pays for it as insurance. Do you ever talk to them? Do you ever communicate with them? Do you ever tell them what you're working on? You should be.
Hmm.
Out of sight, out of mind in our business is not a good idea, actually.
Sure. Right. Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head that trust is everything. And trust is really our only, I say, defense of AI, because you can't build trust with
Yep,
AI. Um,
it's true.
only humans can build that level of trust with one uh, another.
Even this podcast, like to get guests like you and others on here, there's a trust factor. And it's one reason why, if you remember, you and I sat down, we had a quick 10-minute call one day and said, okay, let's talk and let's see. Because I don't like walking into these shows with no synergy or no, if we're so far apart, there's no point. Like it's not going to
Right.
go well. And I can usually tell. I've done enough of these to tell within 5 minutes, is the show going to be a good show or not a good show? I can almost tell. So I
Yeah.
again appreciate you that it's all about the relationship. And I'm sorry, whether it's your plugin business, whether it's your agency business, it's like I was talking about forms. And I'm a WS Forms user. Mark's a friend. There's no
Hmm.
question. There's other forms out there, WP Forms, Fluent Forms, Gravity Forms, but I have a relationship. And
Right.
that to me is more important than anything else in the can. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And that was one of my guiding principles post acquisition, was
yep,
reassuring and showing that our users of Infinite
yep,
Uploads that we can be trusted, because oftentimes in the industry when something gets acquired, everything goes downhill and prices increase, support decreases, quality decreases, etc. And we wanted to be the exact opposite of that. We wanted to drive
yep,
value. We wanted to do better than what was being done before, so that way our users kept
yep,
the trust in the product and trusted us as
yep.
the new owners.
Yeah, and I'll give you two scenarios where they've been done good or bad, however you want to take it. One was Liquid Web. We know what Liquid Web did with the solid brand in the last couple of months. If you're in the WordPress community, I was a heavy solid user on the security side. I kind of have been in with Cadence. My own site is based on Cadence blocks. And I have to tell you, the security side, I'm in the process of moving out of Liquid Web because
Hmm.
I've got issues there. And
Yeah.
the issues for me is communication. Now, the Cadence side, I'm not as worried about because they're doing security updates and not feature updates, and they rolled it into a new product. So I'm okay with that. But, and I actually have a Cadence LTD, so I don't even care because I can manage what I've got to manage with what I've got. Now, I will tell you, I'm not building any more sites there. I'm actually switching to Generate Press for a lot of stuff I'm doing. So there's a bit of a trust issue there. And then I think I was talking to you. I've watched some other themes and products come out and say, we're changing our product. And by the way, we're rolling it into a new product. And they've communicated it well, and they haven't had the same backlash.
Mm.
And I don't think philosophically there's anything wrong with what Solid WP did, Liquid Web, the parent company. It's how they communicated it and how
Right.
and you could see it coming because they have a product called Restrict Content Pro.
Hmm.
And those who are watching, I also have that product as well. They had sent out an email 6 weeks before saying, by the way, we're changing how you get updates. And I looked at somebody and said, oh, it looks like Liquid Web's going to do some stuff here. And they said to me, nah, it's just one product. I could see it coming. It's all how you communicate it. Communication builds trust.
Hmm. Right. Yep.
So that's the important thing. Um, Infinite uploads. What problem does it solve?
Yeah. So infinite uploads are our plugin is designed to be the all-in-one plugin to manage your media library. So it does your offload of your media to the cloud. So if you have a lot of images, videos, PDF, stuff like that, you can offload it to the cloud, served via a CDN, and soon it's going to be able to do something that really speeds up your site. Can't say exactly
No,
what that feature is yet, but it's going to make your site a lot faster with those images. And
that in the business is known as being a tease. Right, Blake?
we all it is,
Good.
yeah, yeah. But I can go on and list all of the features that we offer, but our end goal is to make the media library a better solution for WordPress users.
And it's a
And
good
our
thing you're doing that because the media library in core has been the most neglected feature out there. And I think part of the problem is from a core perspective, it's not sexy. It's a media library.
right.
And but if you any of us who have spent way too much time in the media library, and I've got an e-com site that's got 250 products, and
Hmm.
it's like trying to manage that with the media library is like managing hell. I hate to say it.
Oh
It's
yeah, yeah, yeah. So in Infinite Uploads has folders that you could drop each product images into a folder and organize it that way. And our primary target is beginners and people that actually don't really use WordPress on
yep.
a daily basis. A developer is going to want to go with one of our competitors' plugins because they can set things up and set up the API keys and the IAM roles in AWS, whereas ours is you install the plugin, you log into your Infinite Uploads account, you press the connect button, and it provisions everything in the background for you, and it's done just like that.
And that's what's interesting. You've identified your target market where a lot of people go out and say there should be a catch-all. And devs and designers who live in this world don't always need the same thing that an end user gets. And I hate to tell you, you would think those of us like you and I who spend any time on Twitter, yes, I still call it Twitter, um, realize that the people squawking about WordPress on Twitter make up less than 0.5% of the market. And there's this whole new world out there of end users and people who just want to use the product. They just
Mhm.
want to make their posts. They just want to change their WooCommerce store. They just
Yep.
want to do that. And they don't care about all the back-ended stuff. They don't care about what it doesn't has, and they don't even care of the politics going on in WordPress. All they want to do is run their store, run their business. They don't care about all the stuff we care about.
Right. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Every time that I make a decision for Infinite Uploads, I think about the realtor that is uploading 70 pictures of a new house that they're posting to their website. I'm thinking of a photographer that just got done with a photo shoot and needs to upload 150 meg images to their website. I'm thinking of those
No,
people.
no, yeah, and we all know, it's worth going down this road. We all know that uploading images that are too large, that's great for print. Like I always say to people, I just finished doing some slideshows for my brother's memorial. And
Hmm.
one of the hardest things is that the average person doesn't understand is that 50K picture that you download off Facebook on a Facebook page doesn't always blow up properly because there's not enough pixels in it. But we
Hmm.
also all know that if we put 5 GB pictures on a web page, we kill the website speed to no end.
Right.
And we realize that's a bit of a problem, right? And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
one of the
Which
problems infinite upload solves.
it is. Yep. And I mean, a photographer is a little bit different because they want those high res
Yes,
pictures.
you're being fair.
Um,
Yes.
yeah. Yeah. Whereas like a realtor, someone uploading that stuff, yeah, you should have it be small, very small. But that's why our new feature that's coming out for Infinite Uploads is going to help solve that problem as well. Because we also do, in a way, enable that problem through our big file uploads plugin to where people can increase their maximum upload size on their server
Yeah.
to whatever they want it to be without going in and changing the htaccess file or the wp config. They just go in the
Or
plugin,
having
set it.
or having to go to FTP and upload your pictures and get around that whole mess. I mean, we've all played that game at times. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yep. Yep. So, but again, to someone that doesn't use WordPress on a daily basis, if they're just dragging and dropping their images from their computer into WordPress and it's not accepting the image, they're going to go, WordPress sucks. It won't work, etc. So that's where we're trying to solve that problem of allowing people to upload freely, but then on our end, solving that problem then by serving it through our CDN, it being
Yeah.
offloaded, and then optimizing it when it goes out the front door.
Is there I have to ask you, is there a free version in the repository of Infinite Uploads or just the paid version?
The plugin is technically free on the repository, but the plugin will only scan your media library if you don't have an account connected. So essentially, you do have to have an account for Infinite Uploads, a paid account with Infinite Upload to connect it and use the offload feature, and get the features and get the features of Infinite Uploads. But the plugin itself is technically free on the repo.
Yeah. What's the cost of Infinite Uploads?
It is our lowest plan comes with 25 gigs of storage, 50
Yeah.
gigs of bandwidth for $8.25 per month, billed yearly.
Bill generally. Okay. That's not unreasonable. And then
Yeah.
it goes from there. So I
Yep.
think I think people need to look at solutions like this because I think where people get caught is they look at and say, that's $8 a month. Okay. And my response would be, and how much time is it saving you? If you had to go to images and shrink them and do it the manual way, you're still putting in time. And I always say you need to bill out. What is that? What do you bill out hourly? And then I kind of factor that in, and then $8 a month
Mhm.
doesn't seem so bad.
Right.
If you
Yep. And we are at this point, as soon as our new feature comes out, we are, I think, 6 or 7 plugins in one. So
yeah,
you don't have to go and purchase a folders plugin for $49 per year. You don't have to go and purchase an optimization plugin for $200 a year. You don't have to purchase other things. It's just one plugin that does it all. You don't have to piecemeal it together.
yeah, yeah. Do you handle support, Blake, or do you have a team that handles it for you?
I primarily handle the support. We recently put DocSpot in front of our support to answer questions that users may have, and but for support, I handle our support. If it needs something that needs further troubleshooting, or we need to patch a fix for a bug, then that goes over to our dev team.
Yeah. And what are you using for support? Using like Help Scout or one of those or in-house
Yep,
solution or
we use Free Scout.
free, which is the self-hosted free version of Help Scout.
Exactly. Yep. And we
Yeah,
love
which
it, especially with AI, because we created our own MCP for it, to where I can ask Claude to pull down the conversation and it reads it, and then it it will try to replicate the issue on a Sandy WP sandbox and install it, and it's just trying to make things as efficient as possible, because that's what we tried to do as well. Is we very rarely put something on the customer to fix. um
yes,
it's up to us to make things very simple for the customer. Like, I feel bad even asking the customer for their FTP details sometimes.
yeah,
uh, I just want things to be as seamless as possible for the end user.
I get that. Question for you. You've already teased you got a big feature you're working on, so you're not going to share that. So that's fine. But can you share some of the stuff you're working on down the road? Or would you
Yeah,
rather, could you go ahead or?
sure. Yeah. Um, so I've teased the one, and uh, another one that we're teasing is a is I don't really know how to tease this, but a cleanup feature for your
Yep.
duplicate images, stuff like that. And then further down the road, we're looking at uh, uh, how to do an MCP with it.
Yeah. Yep.
We're not quite there yet. We're still trying to figure out how our end users, thinking of the photographers, the realtors, etc., are
Yep.
using AI with WordPress. But with what I've seen, and just in the past couple weeks, with the AI tools and plugins that are coming out for WordPress, like Nova, Mira, and
Yeah. Yeah.
the
There's a
other
lot
ones out
going on
there.
there.
Yeah, we're just trying to see how end users uptake that.
I think, and I think that's going to change. And I'm going to tell you why it's going to change. The cost of tokens is going up, not down, just a little bit.
Yep, for sure. Yep.
So I know for me, if I'm doing AI work with WordPress, I'm probably going to Gemini or Claude directly because it's cheaper to do it directly in Claude or Gemini than to pay for API tokens all over the place. That's just the way it works. So I think people are going to start to adjust when they get some large token bills. And I think personally, that's going to curtail some of the AI usage. I mean, all the tech shows I listen to and podcasts are saying token cost is going up. That's also
Right.
because we know what's going on in data centers. We know what's going on in hardware. We know the battle
Hmm.
to building AI data centers because of the hydro grid. We all that's going on, right? So I think
Right.
some of this is going to flatten out sooner or later, whether we like it or not. To be honest with you.
Yeah. I think that, I mean, I wouldn't say that we are in a bubble, but
Mm.
I do think that the AI hype might begin to cool down a
Yep.
bit, especially as those token costs rise.
Oh yeah, and they are going up. There's no question on that one. So, Google did a really smart thing actually there. They have a Google One plan,
Hmm.
and the way it worked was they gave everybody using it. So we're not talking the workspaces plan, we're just talking the straight Google One plan. And they gave everybody 2 terabytes and then Gemini Pro. And they
Hmm.
very quietly a couple of months ago increased the 2 terabyte to 5 terabyte. And you say, why would they do that? Well, I'll tell you why. The more storage space you occupy and the more you get locked into Google, the less chance
Mm,
of canceling that plan.
sure.
So and storage space is actually cheap, but
Hmm.
it isn't because we've seen a rise in hard drive prices. I mean, I was pricing some USB hard drives for a client yesterday, and they're double what they were a year ago. I can
Oh
tell you
yeah,
that for sure. But I mean, it's still relatively cheap to compared to 20 years ago. I mean,
sure.
or 30 years ago. When I got into tech business, we were paying $500 Canadian for a 420 meg hard drive, not even a gigabyte.
Mhm.
And now, and everybody's complaining about pricing. So I think it's all relative, but
Sure.
they were smart and they said, hey, we'll give you more storage space. And so people are less likely to move. And
Right.
there's a lot of that going on. But I also know token prices are just going to get stupid. There's been some big bills. And if I were using WordPress with an AI API connected, I would certainly have two-step authentication turned on, because one of the reasons people are hacking is to get access to those API keys.
Yeah, especially with WordPress 7.0 and the
Yep.
the the
Yep.
AI connectors, I could be wrong, but I believe if you put an API key for Claude or ChatGPT in there, I believe it stores it in plain text.
It does in the database. And anybody with a grain of salt knows how to grab a MySQL database, and even if it wasn't plain text. So I'll give you an example. Your passwords. They're not in plain text, but any of us know how to go in and change the password of any user in a MySQL database, right? So
Yep.
it doesn't matter. The point I'm making is, if you're doing any API connection, you better be having two-step authentication turned on. Very simple. End of story.
Yep. Yep. Yep, for sure.
So anyway, um, so that's the roadmap for infinite uploads. If somebody wants to purchase the product or find out more or talk to you, how's the best way? Can you kind of share?
Yep. They can go to infiniteuploads.com for product details. And if you want to talk to me, you can contact me on X or on LinkedIn. Those are probably the two places that I'm at the most. And yeah.
And what I would tell anybody is Blake is really approachable on X. We've had many a conversation. We have some mutual friends too, which kind of help.
Mhm.
Business friends, that helps. Um, Bridget Williard being one, and
Oh
amongst
yeah.
many others. But we have those conversations. So I know you're approachable. So like, if you got a question for Blake, throw it out at him. Like he'd be glad to talk to you and show you how his product can help your solution. So. Blake,
Yeah,
thanks so much for this, and thanks for doing the show again. I appreciate that. And have
of
a wonderful
course.
day, my friend.
Thank thank you so much, Rob. Take care.
Take care. Thanks again to our sponsor, All-in-One WP Migration by ServeMask. Export your entire WordPress site in one click, import it anywhere. No server access needed, no command line, works with every hosting provider. Free on WordPress.org, or extension at servemask.com. A very special thank you to Blake Whittle for joining us on this edition of the SDM Show. The SDM Show is dedicated to my late father, Bruce Cairns. Dad, I miss you very much every day. My mother, Ann Cairns, who's still doing really well and is an inspiration. And of course, Tiz Maroney. And Tiz, I know I've said it, but thank you so much for all the inspiration you give me every day.